This is the reference that I'm going to be using for this painting. So it's quite a nice scene, not too difficult. You got these nice, you got this nice bit of wall and then a fence which is leading your eye into the scene. I think this is one that can be quite straightforward, and of course I'm going to be adding my own spin to this, so I don't want anything exact. So let's just jump in and just roughly marking out where the components of this painting are. I think, to be honest, it's a little bit, there's nothing spectacular about this scene, but I'm hoping that the painting that I get from this, I can make it into quite a nice looking scene, a nice looking landscape. And this is a photograph which I got while at Hollingworth Lake. So just marking out some of the stones for the wall. So yeah, you can just rough these in, it doesn't really matter too much. And then you got this big rock stone, and that's gonna go over this, which is quite nice. It fits quite well into the scene. It's just going over that, oftentimes quite difficult to paint along the crease of the paper. I don't really need to add any more details. I can just do that with the paint. So I can leave that as it is. And then there's a fence post coming up, getting swallowed up by this bit of tree. So I'm just getting in the shapes, not focusing on anything else at the moment, and just getting in. And if you're happy with the pencil sketch, then that's the key. If it's placed, if you've got the details placed in the right places, then you can have success and it will turn out okay. If you start fiddling and fussing with detail in the sketch, trying to get things too accurate, and I know I used to do that, you know, it's almost like training your brain to see things a little bit different and a little bit simpler, to simplify things. Is when you start messing with details, especially if you're quite new to watercolor painting in general. It can be quite difficult. It can be quite difficult to get things exact. So you got to sort of train your brain to simplify and just allow things to take shape. And I've got a little building up here. So I'm not doing too much of this sketch. I'm just getting the bare bones of this scene. A bit of a wall, I think, just going there. And there's not really much detail I want to add at this stage. So I'm going to add this bit of a building. And there's a couple of windows. It's not very clear because it's just showing, just peeping through the scene, so I'm going to be quite loose with that as well. And the land sort of comes down here, and the land comes up and meets the fence like so. Like I said, it's not 100% accurate, but I'm happy with that. And just getting in the main shapes and areas, and that's pretty much all I want to do for this stage. So you can see, nice and simple, just drawing in what I see on the reference, and then the fun starts now, just adding the colours. Okay, so while I'm doing this, I just want to run through some of the materials that I'm using, because each time that I forget to mention those, I do get pulled up in the comment section. So I'm using my Seawhites of Brighton. This is Seawhites of Brighton. It's actually travel journal watercolor notebook. So it's not pressed, so it's got that nice texture to the paper. And then you can see I've got my M.Grahams palette. So these are M.Grahams professional grade watercolor paints. And then I'm just going to use just a few of my brushes, keeping things nice and simple. I've got this, just looking, this is the Isobay mop brush, and it's a size 2/0, so it's not the biggest brush, but for this paper it's probably quite large. And then I've got this, you can see, but this is another, this is a Raphael size 2/0, so it's a nice small round. I do have this brush which I don't know quite what size and what make it is, because it's just darkened the barrel, so I can't really see that. And I've got a Da Vinci size 2. This is the liner brush, and I've got a size 2 Da Vinci mop brush. This is Cosmo top, so it's a mix of synthetic and natural brush, so it holds quite a lot of water and they're really nice to use. So I'm going to start off with the sky. So I don't want too much, there's not a lot of sky showing on this. There is in the photograph, but for mine there's not really that much. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that cerulean blue. And remember, you got water. I see a lot of people not using too much water, painting as if they're poster paints. Watercolor just has that advantage, and the it's just so nice to include plenty of water, get that nice flow, and just get the nice effects that only you get in watercolor. So I'm just adding water to that blue just to soften it and make some cloud shapes. And I'm going to just grab a little bit of the mud from a palette, a little bit of grey sort of mix, and just adding that. So you got a bit of feeling in the clouds as well. So plenty of water just to soften any areas, and don't forget that watercolour does dry a little bit lighter than what you put down. So if you're going quite dark and you panic thinking it's too dark, it probably isn't. But that's something that comes with practice. As you practice with the colours, you do get to know how light and dark to do your paints. Also, what I want to do, like I said, I'm not going for exactly the same. I want to just add a different colour on one side of the grass, just to give me that different, just break up the scene a little bit. And you can see in the reference photo it's just all a straight green, but I want to change things up a little bit, and that's one thing that you can do. Remember, you don't have to slave to whatever's on the photograph. I'm adding a little bit of red into that. That's yellow ochre, by the way, that I've just put down. And I'm just going to vary the mix and try and get things a bit more interesting for this painting. I don't want it exact the way it is on the reference. So then I'm just going in with this green, a nice sap green mix with a little bit of that yellow ochre as well, because that's the green of my choice. I do like sap green. And you can also make it less punchy, sort of mix. You could drop in red, you can use yellow ochre, you can use lemon yellow or cad yellow, whatever you want to mix, just to bring that colour vibrancy down a little bit to make it a bit more realistic. But I'm happy with that so far. I didn't actually draw in any of the posts in this area, but I can sort that as I progress through the painting. One thing I do like to do is paint these walls. We have lots of these walls here in the UK in the countryside, and you can see just not waiting for the paint already to dry, so I am getting a little bit of bleed back, but I'm just incorporating that into the scene. It's not sometimes it can look quite nice, but using mostly Payne's grey for this mix, and then I will touch in a little bit of some super granulating paints, and this is actually a Schminke Horadam paint. This is the one that I'm using now, and I wish I knew which colour it was. I think it might be a Mars Brown or Mars Black, something like that. And I can show you, you can see the way the colours have come out. You can see a bit of blue within that mix, and it's really quite nice. They are quite nice sometimes, these super granulating paints. That's the paint. You can see the colour change within that colour. So they can be quite nice, especially on walls and anything like that, just to give that colour change and quite a natural sort of look. And then just going in with some pen. This is a drawing pen size 2.0, so it's quite a good tip. It's quite wide, and so I'm just drawing in some of the shadows underneath the bricks of the wall. If you're still watching this video up until this point, please do give me a like, comment and subscribe. I don't know about you, but I do like adding these sort of man-made elements to the natural scenes. Let me know in the comments section what you think. Do you have these sort of stone walls where you live? It's just really nice to paint and include in those landscapes. So I think of all the things that I want to emphasize on this video is just how to paint from a reference photograph but not copy exactly. You can change things around, you can change the colours, you can add things or remove things, and so you really got to play around and find what works and what would look good in the scene. So I'm just using a few pens now just to get those sharper lines, and I'm going around the windows just so that they stand out, and you can see that that's a building just in the distance there. And just adding those to some of the branches and trees, the foliage in the foreground. And it always does sort of tie things up a little bit if you're going for a loose painting. It just helps define a few of those areas, especially in the foreground. You want things to soften off as they go into the distance, so you get less definition, and then you can use a pen to include details in the foreground. Hopefully you're finding this video useful. If you do, please drop that in the comments. Let me know what you've found useful or helpful within this painting. And yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that you don't have to slavishly copy a photograph exactly. Just get the sort of bare bones down with a pencil if you want to do pencil drawing first, just to plan the composition. But once you get that down, you're just free to sort of include or, you know, just move things around if you feel, and you just use the colour. And you've got an artistic license to sort of do whatever you want. This is your painting. This is the way you want to see things. But yeah, it's just all fun of painting. And I'm using my liner brush now, you can see, and it's a really good brush to get those branches and limbs on trees. It gives that wobbly mark and makes it more tree-like, I guess. It just has more of a movement on the, you know, the brush end because it's so long. But yeah, I do enjoy using the liner brush.
Cause you know the world is beautiful, so beautiful. Cause you know the world is beautiful, so beautiful. And I just can't hide how I feel about you. Nothing can take that away. Cause you make the world so beautiful, so beautiful.
As always, thanks for watching, thanks for spending this time with me. Hope you like this one and find it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.